Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Beyonce's really not helping Chloe's project or Chloe's album.
I think Beyonce should post because that's her artist, but Beyonce isn't obligated to post. And if Beyonce's post...
Okay, I'm sorry, but this is really fucking creepy. Like, Beyonce has been trying to write me out of my own narrative for like years at this point. Like, this is so fucking weird.
After taking down big names like Steve Harvey and Kevin Hart, Katt is now pointing his cannon of truth at everyone's favorite Beyonce. According to the comedian, the star's meteoric rise to fame is not as glamorous as fans think. Katt is certainly venturing into dangerous territory, taking on one of the biggest music icons in the world. The chances of him being chewed up by the BeyHive are very high, but that has never stopped the comedian from spilling the truth about the industry, and things ain't any different this time around either. In a recent interview, Katt pulled back the curtains on the inner workings of the music industry, revealing how everything is planned to put certain people in positions of power. Though Katt didn't name drop anyone this time, some fans think he might be taking shots at Queen Bee herself, revealing how her career is built on the backs of others. Buckle up because the tea is simmering hot as Katt Williams exposes new details showing why Beyonce is worse than we thought.
I'm trying to have a conversation that's not being had. And I'm really sorry that these conversations are being had by a comedian. I wish too that it was a religious leader of some kind having this conversation, or somebody's politician talking about this stuff.
When it comes to a glamorous musical career, no one's doing it better than Beyonce. Multiple accolades, a billionaire empire, and a loyal fan base. The woman has it all. Ever since the release of her debut album, Dangerously in Love, Beyonce has aged like fine wine. However, according to some whistleblowers, Beyonce didn't get to where she is without some cheap tricks, and the camera is now being panned to expose Beyonce's true face by the likes of Katt Williams. Over the years, Williams has earned the reputation of a no-BS truth teller, spilling the beans about the dark side of the industry that no one else seems to have the guts to reveal. While Katt had limited himself to big names in the world of comedy and acting before, he's now expanding his circle of truth to music icons like Beyonce. During a candid interview with Carrie Champions, Katt got real about how the industry really works. In his words, what fans view as happy accidents that make or break the careers of different artists are all intricately planned plots.
It's based off of pretend that seems like a setup is.
Everything that happens in a business, everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup is.
Yes.
Take Janet Jackson's infamous wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl from years ago. According to Katt, there's always someone benefiting from incidents like these. And that's exactly what happened in Jackson's case. Her career fizzled out following the scandalous incident, while Justin Timberlake continued to climb the ladder of success.
They cut to commercial. You didn't see what happened. By the time they come out, people have been removed. It goes on. It's certain ways things are handled when it's not intentional. When things go smoothly, but they seem chaotic, that means there was forethought and a plan. Somebody, even if it looks like, yeah, Janet Jackson just had a wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, there's no such thing.
Correct.
I don't care who you blame.
I believe that. I believe that.
Somebody benefited. Yeah. So in all of these situations, there's a business involved and there's real money.
Bearing that in mind, Katt urges fans to question all that they know about their faves, because the truth might not be pretty after all. And that includes Beyonce.
What business they're in. Why would you think it would be weird if they flipped out and said a story that turned out to not be true?
Over the years, the singer has carved out her own path in the industry like no other. However, that by no means implies that Beyonce's slate is clean. The singer has had her fair share of controversy over the years, and the one that still holds a question mark to date is concerning her and singer Amerie. Every year, the internet goes through the process of discovering Amerie's song, One Thing, and comparing it with Bey's 2003 hit, Crazy in Love, igniting the debate about who did it first. And for good reason, too.
I always said she was the original Beyonce. Beyonce stole her steez.
Oh, you think so?
Look at Crazy in Love video and look at Amerie, Fall in Love.
Here's Amerie's version. And here's B's version. It doesn't take a genius to spot the similarities between the two songs, and that's where the problem lies. You see, fans have concluded that Beyonce is the one to blame for Amerie's short-lived music career. For those of you who don't know, Amerie's a Korean-American singer who gained instant recognition for her unique voice back in the 2000s. With producer Rich Harrison by her side, the singer released a total of 4 albums. Her sophomore album, Touch, showcased her one-of-a-kind style, better known as the go-go style, which was later used by the likes of J.Lo and Beyonce. Go-go is a genre native to Washington, D.C., and is well recognized through the Maryland and Virginia areas. From all angles, it seemed like Amerie was destined for greatness, with the most iconic musicians taking inspiration from her music. However, Beyonce entered the picture around the same time, and suddenly there was no more Amerie. Internet detectives think that Beyonce stole Amerie's touch and pushed her out of the music scene. Even though Beyonce was still in the early days of her career, she still had a lot of influential people backing her up, and there was no way Amerie could compete with that. However, if there's one thing the BeyHive is known for, it's defending their queen to the ends of the earth. So of course, when the banter about Beyonce stealing from Amerie picked up, Bees didn't waste a second to shut down the rumors, explaining how Bey released the song first in 2003, 2 years before Amerie's One Thing hit the radio. One fan said, apart from the fact that Crazy in Love came out first, Amerie's One Thing would probably never have had release confidence from the record company had it not been for the resounding success of Beyonce's Crazy in Love. That sound was too experimental then. Another fan commented, at some point, y'all are gonna have to stop making these unfounded accusations about Beyonce because they suit an agenda. It's giving hater more than anything. Sounds like a solid argument, right? There's just one catch. You see, at first, it looks like Beyonce and Amerie were in different orbits, but they had a common link after all, and that was producer Rich Harrison. And get this, Harrison didn't only work on Amerie's first album, but he was engaged to the singer as well. The two first met in a McDonald's parking lot, and after a short jamming session, Harrison knew he had struck gold. During an interview with Hip Online in 2002, Amerie said, "For some reason, we had a very special chemistry. When we would work together, something great would happen." That said, Harrison was a big fish in the industry. He had worked with the likes of Mary J. Blige and Toni Braxton. With those kinds of names under his belt, it was only understandable that anyone who wanted to be something in the music industry would end up in Rich's office. And that's exactly what Bey's father, Matthew Knowles, who's a record executive himself, did. He introduced Beyonce to Harrison, and the two got to work. Fans think that the fact Beyonce ended up working with Rich was a strategic move to remove Amerie from her seat at the table. One fan commented, "Beyonce is a fan. She tracks Rich Harrison down. He gives her Crazy in Love, uses the same formula he used for Amerie. Same swing style, vocally and visually. It becomes the lead single for the Dangerously in Love album and hit #1. Stays on the charts for 27 weeks. The fan continues, writing, 2005 comes along. Amerie drops her sophomore album, Touch. The lead single is One Thing, which bears a striking resemblance to Crazy in Love. It's Amerie trying to reclaim a sound that was hers in the first place. But B has already hit the stratosphere. So, the Hive's argument about B releasing the song first doesn't really hold up. Like Katt said, the music industry doesn't work the way we think it does. Some songs are not necessarily born prior to their release. Sometimes, producers keep certain ideas in the vault for years, waiting for the right artist to come along, and that seems to be what happened here. In fact, Rich Harrison admitted to holding onto the song for years himself, waiting for the perfect opportunity. At first, the producer only had the hook for Crazy in Love, sampled from the 1970 song Are You My Woman. During an interview with MTV in 2004, Harrison recounted how he and Beyonce ended up producing a hit for the ages, and here's what he said. "I remember when I first did the beat. I played it for a lot of my buddies as I normally do, and they couldn't dig it. But that's when I knew I had something special. Sometimes people need to hear the whole record." The producer continued, explaining, "Yeah, I had it in the chamber. I hadn't really shopped it much because sometimes you don't want to come out of the bag before it's right. People don't really get it, and you'll leave them with a foul taste in their mouth. So it was just something that I held on to until I got the call from B." So, there you have the producer admitting to keeping the song in the closet for years. Now, he didn't say that the song was initially for Amerie, but according to some internet theorists, that was exactly the case. Crazy in Love was allegedly conceived with Amerie in mind, but the top brass at Columbia Records decided that they didn't want her on the song, but someone better, and so Amerie was robbed of her chance at stardom. That said, it seems like Beyonce did more than steal Amerie's sound. Here's a video of Amerie talking about a potential idea for a future project. Sound familiar? Yeah, it sounds oddly like Beyonce's Renaissance album cover. With the facts laid out, some fans are still on Beyonce's side, saying that she did nothing wrong. Others lay the blame on Amerie's label for screwing her over instead of Beyonce. One fan commented, Amerie's album was number 192 on the Billboard year-end chart for its release year. It had yet to pass 500K sales in the US 5 years after its release. They've never supported Amerie. Another fan commented, music industry did Amerie so dirty. That said, the question of whether Beyonce is to blame for Amerie's downfall or not remains in the air. However, one thing is for certain, the water is definitely muddy. The controversy has changed the way some fans look at Beyonce. And surprisingly, this is only the tip of Beyonce's shady past. When it comes to sharing the spotlight, Chloe Bailey knows all about how far Bey is willing to go to secure her position on the charts and in the industry. Halle and Chloe Bailey caught the eye of the internet, singing song covers back in the day. And man, did they have some killer vocals for their age. And guess what? Their first video, uploaded in 2011, was none other than a cover of Beyonce's Best Thing I Never Had. Given their undeniable talent, it didn't take long for the sisters to end up on the Disney child star path. However, the real I've made it moment came for the sisters when Beyonce personally noticed them in December 2013. Back then, Beyonce had shaken the music industry by releasing her self-titled album, and the sisters made waves with a killer rendition of the opening track, Pretty Hurts. The cover eventually ended up on Beyonce's feed, and what do you know? She liked what she heard. With an eye for talent, Beyonce didn't waste a second and signed Chloe and Halle to her record label, Parkwood Entertainment, taking them under her wing. Safe to say, when it came to securing a mentor to show them the reins, the girls had won the game. Yet surprisingly, the sisters' careers never took off like fans had expected. Chloe Bailey released her debut album, In Pieces, on March 31st, 2023. With Beyonce's mentorship, the album should have broken the charts and set records, but that's not what happened. In Pieces only sold a disappointing 10,000 units during its first week. Of course, fans had a whole lot of questions about why the album of Bey's protege didn't do well. On the surface, Bailey had the perfect recipe for success. So why did she fall short? Well, if you ask DJ Envy, he'll tell you that Beyonce is the one to blame here. And you might want to hear him out before you throw him to the wolves.
But I do feel like if you're signed to somebody's record label, right, or you are in business with somebody, that's part of what you assume or what you would think, right? If I'm an artist and I sign to anybody, and I seen Jay-Z do it to his biggest artists, Beanie Siegel, to Rihanna, to Kanye, to Emil, he promoted his artist.
According to Envy, it was Beyonce's responsibility to promote Bailey's album on her social media accounts. She's a global icon with 319 million followers on Instagram. Her word carries weight. But instead, it was crickets on B's social media accounts when it came to Bailey's album. Even some fans found it odd.
You sign or you partner with somebody, especially who has a media platform or who has a big platform, you expect them to promote your stuff. Like, how would I look having partnerships with the Black Effect Podcast Network or having people on my book imprint Black Privilege and not promoting their stuff? Because that would be hurting me as well. Like, the bigger they get.
The streets were hinting at a certain jealousy on Beyonce's part. Allegedly, Beyonce didn't want Chloe to outshine her, which is why she refrained from promoting her album online. What's more, some theorists think that the only reason B brought Chloe under her wing in the first place was to keep her on a tight leash. She allegedly saw her as a threat. However, Chloe doesn't think like that. She shut down the rumors about Beyonce not supporting her and her disappointing album release on The Breakfast Club, saying that the singer has always supported her and she's grateful for all that B had done for her.
In regard to promoting your album, what do you have to say about that?
I love B, and she supported my sis and I since we had our little locks on YouTube. So it's all love over here. I love her.
You feel like the label could have supported more and pushed more?
Because that's what nobody talking about. Everybody want to blame Beyonce. Where was the label at?
Well, I feel like it's all politics, but this is what I'll say.
If you think that's diabolical, Azealia Banks is here to set the record straight. The American rapper has had a bone to pick with Queen Bee since forever. In fact, Banks riled up the BeyHive by taking shots at the Renaissance tour a while ago. Shortly before, the singer had expressed excitement about getting tickets to the iconic tour. Naturally, fans followed up on her plans, but boy was that a mistake because Banks ripped Beyonce a new one. In a rather angry rant on IG, Banks said, "I stayed home. I decided I didn't want to see Giselle and Blue Ivy's cabaret. I wasn't leaving the comfort of my mansion to hear her sing Mary J. Blige covers and literally watch the same show I can watch on Instagram." And it gets worse. Banks continued by saying, "In a big way, I kind of got over her that night. For a woman who's done so much nasty stuff behind the scenes to stifle other black female artists, yet still is too afraid to come at Adele for the little lemonade stunt and tearing a Grammy in half while she's in the front row pregnant. LMAO, literally she begs people like Dixie Chicks, Shakira, and Adele for collabs, but doesn't pay the legion of black women who pen her songs." She ended her comment with the words, "And I had a second thought about how tasteless it was for her to have the legendary Kevin Jay-Z prodigy sweating her wig out and performing from the pit. No, Giselle, you thought you went hard. You need to go harder." For those of you who are out of the loop, Banks has never been a Beyonce fan. Over the years, she has accused the singer of trying to sabotage black voices and even stealing her songs. Earlier in 2022, Banks came for Bey's neck by accusing her of trying to erase the rapper's contributions to house music. The fire was ignited when Banks shared a quote from an insider about how Beyonce came up with the ideas for her future songs. While speaking to the Metro UK, the source said, "She loves the fact that so many black writers and DJs are thriving in the dance scene over there and was paying attention to songs by people like Mr. Jam, David Asante, Mnek, Camille, and early Azealia Banks when brainstorming." As you can imagine, Banks was furious. She wrote, "You're brainstorming with 6 people to my early records, which are miles beyond whatever flaccid and insecure attempt you just made to try for an attention grab during Pride Month. When you don't give a damn about the gays any other time of the year?" Oh, and she didn't stop there. Banks still had a lot more to say than the Instagram character limit. And so she vented out her frustrations the old-fashioned way, ranting on IG stories.
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to encapsulate my music in time and say like, you know, like it's vintage or something, as if I'm not, as if my last 3 releases have not whipped your ass? Like, are you kidding? As if I'm not showing like major versatility and all of that. Like, you want me to not be Yamaya so fucking badly. Like, you want it to be Solange. You want it to be like Chloe Bailey. Like, you have a Little Mermaid movie and you don't include Azealia Banks. Like, oh my fucking God. You're a joke.
Safe to say you won't be catching Banks and Beyonce doing a collaboration anytime soon. What's surprising is that Cleese shares Banks' woes. Earlier in 2022, the fire was ignited when Cleese's Instagram fan page announced that Beyonce's soon-to-be-released Renaissance album would feature a sample of Cleese's song, Energy. The only problem was that Beyonce hadn't asked for Cleese's blessing before sampling the song, and as you can imagine, Cleese was all kinds of mad. She responded to the announcement, writing a fiery response. "My mind is blown too, because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all 3 parties involved is astounding. I heard about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity, and they have everyone fooled. It's not a collab, it's theft." So, from Banks accusing Queen Bee of stealing from other artists to the singer doing everything in her power to stop stars under her from taking the spotlight, Beyonce's closet is full of skeletons. While Katt has posed some daring questions, given his reputation, there's no doubt that he's spilling the truth. Too many in B's orbit have lost their careers and songs for it to be a coincidence. And if we've learned anything from Katt, it's that there are no accidents in Hollywood. So the question is, will the B's still support their fave? Or will we witness the Queen's empire crumble for the first time in years? No one knows. But one thing is for sure, Katt's outrageous claims have threatened the foundation of all that Beyonce has built over the years. Given the recent drama, we have our eyes glued to the horizon for the latest developments in the industry. So keep your popcorn at hand because we'll be here with all the updates. Until then, keep it Rizzle.